Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to The Explainer. So today we're looking at the chronology of physical performance. Now, I know that sounds like a super academic way of saying something really practical, which is timing. I'm honestly so excited to break this down for you today. We're going to cut right through all the noise and look directly at what the science and the data actually tell us. Our goal? We're demystifying physical performance once and for all. Because get this, here's a crazy fact to start us off. Nearly 70% of Olympic running records are broken in the late afternoon. Coincidence? Well, let's find out.
You've almost certainly asked yourself this exact question at some point. Maybe you were staring at your alarm clock at 5 a.m., having that internal debate about hitting snooze, or kind of dragging your feet to the gym after a really long, exhausting workday. So what's the best time to exercise? Morning, afternoon, or evening? It's literally the ultimate, universal dilemma of fitness. And we've all heard the bold claims from the different camps, right? The early bird gets the worm, or the evening warrior builds the most muscle. There is this very common, almost dramatic myth that exists out there in the fitness world. It's this idea that there is one single, universally perfect hour on the clock that magically unlocks all your fitness dreams. Well, it's time to completely bust that myth.
Because science says it really depends on your goal. I know, it sounds almost too simple. But honestly, this is an incredibly empowering realization. There isn't a one-size-fits-all answer out there simply because there isn't a one-size-fits-all body or circadian rhythm. The misconception that there's this one perfect time is exactly what trips so many of us up. The authoritative reality here, according to the research, is entirely goal-dependent. To understand the perfect time for you, we first have to understand exactly what you're trying to achieve. The clock doesn't dictate your success, your personal objectives do. Let's move to our first major fork in the road and see how this builds. We're talking about the morning habit. For many of us, the morning represents a total blank slate. It's that beautiful, undisturbed time of day before the emails pile up, before the meetings run late, and before life's inevitable chaos just kind of takes over. Understanding this morning approach is absolutely crucial because it caters to a very specific type of goal and a very specific mindset. So let's look at exactly what makes the morning tick biologically. If your personal goal is to build bulletproof consistency and just carry this awesome wave of positive energy throughout your entire day, mornings are an absolutely fantastic choice. You build a healthy habit and you feel energized all day long. Biologically speaking, your cortisol levels naturally peak in the morning, which gives it this built-in alertness to tackle the workout. When you exercise early, you're securing that win before the world even has a chance to interrupt your plans. By getting your heart rate up, you aren't just working out. You're actively releasing dopamine and literally programming your brain to be alert, focused, and energized for the rest of the day. It's all about setting that positive, unstoppable tone. But hey, maybe setting the tone isn't your main objective. Maybe you're chasing a completely different kind of physiological adaptation. And that brings us to the evening performance. We're pivoting the narrative here a bit, moving away from that bright, habit-building energy of the morning to a much more intense, grounded, and physically demanding reality. If the morning is about jump-starting your system, well, the evening is about pushing your system to its absolute maximum limit. Let's look at why the later hours hold such a distinct advantage for a specific type of physical ambition. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer physiological advantage your body possesses later in the day. We're talking maximum strength and peak performance. Your body is fully awake, and crucially, your muscles are warmer. Think about the mechanics of this for a second. Your core body temperature actually peaks in the late afternoon and early evening. Because your muscles are physically warmer and your nervous system is fully online after hours of just moving around and hydrating, your capacity to lift heavier weights or perform at peak intensity is noticeably higher in the evening. So for maximum physical output, evening routines often take the definitive win. And this brilliantly illustrates the real choice you have to make. On one hand, we've got the morning, optimized for building the habit and keeping you energized all day long. And on the other hand, the evening, optimized for maximum strength and warmer muscles. We're basically contrasting two distinct scientific realities directly against each other. And the thing is, neither is inherently wrong. They're just fundamentally different tools for fundamentally different jobs. If you want consistency and mental clarity to tackle your day, choose the morning. If you want to hit a personal record or maximize sheer performance, choose the evening. It all comes down to aligning the clock with your specific personal ambition. Which brings us to the next section, the consistency rule, or as I like to call it, the ultimate truth. So what happens when real life doesn't perfectly align with those optimized scientific windows? Let's just slow our pacing down for a second here. We've talked a whole lot about scientific optimization, but now we need a moment of practical, empathetic reality. So the crucial point is this. The absolute best time to exercise is simply the time you can do consistently. Period. We can debate core body temperatures and morning cortisol peaks all day long, but honestly, none of it matters even a little bit if you aren't actually doing the work. This is a profound realization, and it should take a huge weight off your shoulders. We absolutely have to prioritize schedule consistency over physiological perfection. Look, if you're not a morning person, forcing yourself to wake up at 5 a.m. is inevitably gonna lead to burnout, regardless of what the science says about morning energy. Optimization is entirely useless without consistent application.
I want to let this really sink in for a moment. A workout you actually do is always better than the perfect workout you skip. If you take absolutely nothing else away from this explainer today, please let it be this exact sentence. Do not let the pursuit of the quote-unquote perfect workout window become the enemy of a good workout window. If your lunch break is the only time you realistically have, then guess what? That lunch break is scientifically the best time for you. Relieve yourself of the guilt of missing the optimal window. A less than perfect time that you stick to will always beat a perfect time that you just skip. So I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought to reflect upon. When will you consistently show up? Take a hard look at your own life, your own schedule, and your own energy levels. Forget about theoretical perfection for a minute. Apply this core lesson directly to your own reality. What time actually works for you? Pick a time, block it out on your calendar, and commit to it, because the best time to start is simply the time you'll actually stick with.